Snipers, you have to see what's happening. The Bitcoin price right now. This is an emergency 2 a.m. update. As I promised, if there was something important, I was going to get a video update out to you guys. And there's a lot that we have to look at on the charts. Let's dive straight in. And the first thing that you'll notice is, even with all of the fear that we're seeing right now, we knew coming into this weekend there was a very bearish bias with equity markets dumping on the inflation news on Friday. It was likely Bitcoin was also going to start to test lower levels. Now, what's interesting is, as I record this video, we've yet to breach below the absolute Luna bottom at 26,700. So there's still a potential that we do not dump below 26,700 until equity markets open and we get more answers. And you'll look at the S&P 500 chart right now and you'll see that we've yet to breach its recent lows. And so it looks like right now the time could be ticking for when equity markets and futures markets open to see whether or not the equity markets want to continue further down. And if that's the case, yes, of course, it puts a downside scenario on the table for Bitcoin. And so we always want to address the bears and the bulls on this channel. What happens if 26,700, the recent consolidation low, gets breached? Well, of course, we were in a long position at 28,200 earlier today, and that got closed out at break even when Bitcoin breached back below that level. And so where would the next destination be for Bitcoin if we were to breach below 26,700? I want you to pay attention to this pocket where we have a CME gap at 23,795, and we also have a very important snipers support level at 24,295. Why is this important? Well, if we go back to when Bitcoin initially broke its 2018 all-time high, what you'll notice is this pocket was a very strong resistance before we broke out, and we've never come down to test this previous resistance as support, which is why this right here is a very important area of interest. And if we go into the more macro time frames to look at moving averages, you can see the 200-week moving average is sitting right around that area. And if we look at Bitcoin against the money supply, you can see we're a little bit closer to the 200-week moving average, justifying that this pocket here at 23,795 to 24,200 is extremely significant if we breach below 26,700. So this is a very important pocket that I want you guys to keep in mind. And Ethereum, interestingly enough, breached below its 2018 all-time highs at 1440. Why is this important? Well, there is a thesis for those that have been in the market for quite some time that with Bitcoin over the last 3 cycles, it has broke an all-time high and has never come back down to test those all-time highs. So it's funny that Ethereum is doing that right now, but Ethereum is a completely different asset than Bitcoin. So I don't want to put too much weight to the fact that Ethereum did breach below 1440, but it certainly is a bearish puzzle piece. Now, I am expecting a bounce with Ethereum based on its valuation against Bitcoin hitting a support level for the first time today at 53,000 Satoshis. It looks like we will at least see a garden variety bounce at a major support level that we're testing for the first time. And yes, we're currently below it, but it is the weekend. Remember, that's when the markets are the most manipulated. And so it's really a game of patience right now, in my opinion, when it comes to what's happening to Bitcoin. Now, what's interesting about this pocket as well is I showed you guys the order books on the smaller time frames in our video earlier today, but this is a picture of the order books on the larger time frames, and you'll notice starting at 25,000 US dollars all the way down to 20,000 US dollars is where we have the most amount of buyers. And so all of these puzzle pieces are telling me that if we were to address the bears on this channel right now and we were to breach below 26,700, the most likely destination is going to be around this $25,000 level, the exact number being the $23,795 CME gap that could potentially get filled with a downside move below 26,700. Now, I am still not expecting this to happen over the next 24 hours, at least until equity markets open up and we get more answers. I think that if things were to just stay normal, then Bitcoin would hold its recent consolidation lows at 26,700, at least until the equity markets open once again. If the equity markets do come down below the recent consolidation lows, then the scenario that we come down for Bitcoin does become more likely. And so with that being said, this is a quick update. It is quite late here. It's almost 3 a.m. I think. It's not 2 a.m. And so I'm going to head to sleep, but of course, I'm going to update you guys if something significant comes onto the charts. It's a bearish weekend based on how equity markets closed. That's not a surprise. I made that very clear while Bitcoin was still above 30,000 and I was at the airport. Because of how equity markets closed, we knew coming into this weekend the path of least resistance was lower, not higher. I'm still looking for long positions on Bitcoin because it's certainly a lot better to be entering into a long position at these prices than any of the prices that we've seen over the last 2 years, right? Because anybody that's entered into Bitcoin over the last 2 years are at a loss right now. And so when the markets are the most fearful is when you want to become the most greedy. But of course, with leverage, you have to be extremely careful. It's never a bad time to be entering into spot positions for Bitcoin. We are still currently in a trend, and the trend is down. The trend is always your friend until she dumps you. And so the trend is our friend right now. And so we still want to look at potential downside targets for Bitcoin, keep them on the table, and just be open-minded. But just realize that once that time comes and that date with destiny is here, the question is, are you ready to enter those positions that you've been waiting for? And that time could be coming here very soon. I think that's a very interesting time in the markets. I'm here in Austin, Texas. I spoke at Consensus 2022, and I was with Sam Bankman-Friedman, SBF, the founder of FTX, many other crypto influencers. And I will tell you, across the board, everyone is experiencing at least a little bit of pain. And so that's what we have to expect during a bear market. But what happens when the sun comes up? There's always a new day. And so you'll never see 2 nights in a row. After the night comes the day. And so there's only positive coming after all of this negative. And yes, we might not know when this is going to end, but what we do know is that we're most likely closer to the end than anything else. And so with that, just a couple words of encouragement here from Austin, Texas at 3 a.m. I promised I'd get a video update out to you, snipers. So smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support this content, and I will see you all next time. Snipers out.